We have the three winners of this competition. So we welcome Nikki Bussue in the studio, and of course, joining us via Zoom is Jennifer Harding Marlin. Welcome to
ladies.
Good Morning
Thank
SKN.
you.
So I do have to amend what I said before because we were hoping to have three. Unfortunately, we have only two, but you know what? Two makes it work.
Yes.
Because you're winners anyway, and we're glad to have you. All right, so let's start with Nikki. What motivated you to write?
Well, I've always been passionate about language, writing, literature. My family put a huge emphasis on education and writing and speaking, and so I grew up in a household of writers.
Nice.
Both my parents at one point or the other were educators, and they always just immersed us in language and literature and writing. And so sometimes they would come home and just like throw out picture prompts to us and tell us, write about this. What do you see? What do you think about this? And we had to share and express ourselves. So it's just always been a part of me in my life.
Nice.
So you're a bit of a veteran.
Somewhat.
And second generation at that.
Oh.
All right, and Jennifer, what about you? What motivated you to write?
Love for reading and writing, and I'm also a swimmer, and so I was motivated to write about the topic of swimming, and I wanted to write something that could include as many people as possible in St. Kitts and Nevis and highlight the importance of aquatics in the country, which I think is really important. And so my passions just combined me to want to write a short film story
Oh,
that
that's
could benefit
great.
the community.
I love that.
So Jennifer, is it that how you made your piece unique to you?
Yeah, so I won't talk about all the details of the film, but I do. The film that I wrote really touches on a 9-year-old girl and her journey to learning how to swim and overcoming obstacles in her personal life, as well as obstacles that she has to overcome in swimming. And so these are like, I wanted to tell a fictional story, but I also wanted to tell the story of people locally, from swimmers to volunteers to government officials to everyone who's involved in aquatics in St. Kitts and Nevis. So I think it's a unique approach
Lovely.
to this story.
Lovely. And Nikki, what about you?
My story pretty much focused on a young lady in her adolescent years, and it was largely inspired by my own experiences, my own life growing up on the island of Nevis, and having a lot of those interactions myself. But this young lady, she is struggling with or dealing with both internal and external pressures of life.
Okay.
And it just shows her journey on how she deals with those issues, how she handles them. And also it's a journey of self-discovery for her. And it also is fictitious, but it has a lot of elements of realism to it. So I think that it's something that a lot of young people and middle-aged people and old people can relate to as well.
Oh, nice, nice.
All right, well, I'm going to pivot back to Jennifer at this time. Jennifer, if you need story number 2 about someone who cannot swim, you can base that on me, okay? We'll talk. All right, so how excited are you to work closely with MSR Media in developing your film? What are the points that you're looking for the most, Jennifer?
Yeah, so I'm just so grateful for the opportunity. So thank you very much to Philip Martinez and the team at MSR Media. I'm looking forward to the entire process, to like refining the writing, to helping develop the film, as well as including as many people as possible in the film and really telling the story of the development of aquatics in St. Kitts and Nevis. I mean, St. Kitts and Nevis is one of the only Caribbean countries without a swimming pool. So it'd be great to highlight swimming in St. Kitts and Nevis and then eventually try to get a swimming pool so that more people can learn how to swim, including yourself.
Yes, indeed.
We'll have to get you in the pool.
I'll help him get in.
Oh, yes. I understand that there are plans to have that. We did talk about it in the news. So sooner than later, there will be a swimming pool here in St. Kitts. So we're looking forward to it. Yes. All right. Swimming site, indeed. I'm getting this little birdie in my ear telling me, yeah, this is what we need to say. So indeed. All right. So Nikki. Nikki, what are you looking most forward to in terms of working with MSR Media to bring the film to life?
I'm looking forward to the process, the entire process of learning, of growing, of developing, of creating, and also receiving the guidance that I would need to become more of an expert myself in the field. I've always been interested in theater, in drama, in acting. I've been a part of several drama groups on the island of Nevis and abroad, and I've taught theater. I've dealt with all of that my entire adult life. So just being able to be a part of a professional process and be guided in developing and creating and seeing firsthand what it takes to create something of the sort, I'm really excited for the opportunity.
Lovely.
I have to say we're excited for you.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. And I don't know if it would be too much to give away, but do you ladies know the actors that will be portrayed in your film?
At this point, for myself, I don't know
Okay.
the actors who would be portrayed in the film. Mr. Martinez mentioned that the actors would be local, and so a cast call would be had, and persons would have to sign up and try out and rehearse and the whole process. But I have some ideas about who I might want to cast as certain characters in the story.
Okay. And Jennifer, what about you?
Yeah, same here. So I'm in the same position as Nikki. We don't have anyone in particular yet. So we'll have a casting call
Okay.
in the future.
Well, if you need somebody to pretend drown,
You got Jamie.
you know. All right, so Jennifer, this one is yours first. What can you tell us about the creative process that you went through in writing your winning piece?
Yeah, so I tried to write as much as possible all throughout the year. And then when I saw that this opportunity, I really thought of, different ideas and trying to be mostly inclusive of people as possible. And so I thought it was like a really easy topic for me to write about as a swimmer. And so, yeah.
All right, terrific. And Nikki?
Well, the creative process for me entailed a lot of reflection. It entailed a lot of quiet time and isolation. I think for me, most of my creativity stems from like that space of solitude and reflection. And it was the same for this story because, as I mentioned, this story was largely based on experiences that I've had, individuals close to me have had as well. And so I definitely would have had to reflect a bit on what I wanted to share.
So you ladies are talking about writing ahead of time. You were writing ahead of time knowing of this competition, or because you were creatives, you were just writing?
For me, I was just writing. And I personally embrace all genres.
Okay.
So I dabble in poetry. I dabble in fiction. I like historical fiction as well. I do narratives. I do personal narratives. So I have like a wide range of stories that I could pull from. But specifically for this competition, I decided to create something that I didn't have laying around before. And as I said, a lot of my, the story is largely based on experiences of people that I know, interact with, and the islands and how it makes us feel and the things that we're restricted by and those types of pressures and challenges that we face that are specific to the island. So I think this script is different. It's a lot different to a lot of my previous work.
Okay. And Jennifer, what about you?
Yeah, so I try to do as much writing as possible, although like my career as an attorney keeps me quite busy. I love like the solitude of St. Kitts and Nevis and the peaceful environment to be able to write. And so when I saw that this competition was happening, I didn't have this story already pre-written. I sat down and spent time alone and came up with a storyline for this, which I'm just talking to Nikki, and we have a lot of similarities in terms of highlighting the island and issues that people face. So it's interesting.
So you ladies really have a lot of similarities because everything alike.
Well, yeah, one of the things that you said, which our viewers didn't see happening during the break, is the fact that you both enjoy the solitude as inspiration for writing. How important is that to you, first of all, Jennifer?
Yeah, I think it's very important to take time alone and reflect and really figure out like who you are as well as what inspires you and what your goals are in life. And so I think it's something really important that people should do if they can, spend time alone.
And Nikki, what our viewers did not see is one of the most interesting things that I think you've said, and you've said a lot of interesting things, you both have, but one of the most interesting things that you've said in terms of your interactions with people is that you get inspiration from that, and you might not necessarily know that at the time.
Right. I definitely am inspired by a lot, and inspired in different ways, by people, by the environment, by conversations that I've had, even one-offs. But as Jennifer mentioned, being able to take all of that and use it in a space of solitude and reflection is what inspires my creative process. There's just a lot of distraction throughout the course of the day and in your usual busy work life to really create something of, in my opinion, of great substance. So sometimes, even though I feel inspired to write and I feel the urge or the itch to write at work, because of all the distraction and the noise, I can't really express myself as I would when I'm alone. So.
So, ladies, and I will start with Jennifer. What advice would you give to persons who are struggling with writing?
I think you just have to keep trying and keep writing and try not to be judgmental of your own writing. Sometimes it's good to just write anything on paper and then refine your ideas afterwards. And if writing a short film is something you really want to do, I'd say never give up and continue writing.
And Nikki?
I would say much of the same. I would also say be open to the possibilities. As writers, sometimes we start with an idea and we think that it's going to be pretty streamlined, but as we go through the process itself, it turns into something that's completely different. And I would encourage people to just be open and run with that, whatever comes forth.
All right, so ladies, the competition is over. What's next? Nikki.
Well, the next step would be participating in the training sessions with Mr. Martinez and the team, learning as much as possible about the process of cinematography, and refining the scripts, going through that entire preparatory process, and I'm definitely looking forward to all of that.
And Jennifer.
Yeah, so I'm going to be following a similar process to Nikki. I'm very, very excited. It's a new field for me, so lots of learning to happen over the next few weeks and few months. So looking forward to it.
I have a telephone in my hand, and you might wonder why. It comes from our executive producer and owner here at Studio 327. We're mentioning the fact that at Studio 327, we're very happy to be a part of the winners bringing their stories of the pandemic to life and how it affected so many persons, especially single mothers. So this note comes. Thank you both in MSR Media as well. So in continuing very briefly, I do always like to pick, writers' brains. So let's talk about the parts that you are really hoping to make it into film. Obviously, this is text on paper, but you must have some sort of visual impact that you want to see come to life. So let's start with Jennifer. Is there any particular feature that you want to see in that film? And if so, what is it?
So I want to highlight the people and the places, the culture in the film. So there'll be a lot of, it's swimming, so there'll be beaches like Wally Beach, Penny's Beach, and other beaches will be featured in the film. And then people that are involved in aquatics, the coaches and instructors, and people that are involved in the sport. So I really want to capture different aspects, but I definitely know that I want to highlight the beautiful scenery that St. Kitts and Nevis has, as well as the warm people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Okay, great. And Nikki?
Similarly, I want to highlight the culture, but more so the familial family dynamics and social dynamics within the nation. I think that our experiences here in St. Kitts and Nevis and like the wider region culturally are very similar, and they're also quite different to a lot of other nations around the world. So my story pretty much highlights and emphasizes a lot of those familial struggles that we have and a lot of people can relate with.